Min Heejin is all smiles in her second press conference after her victory over Hybe and after she is confirmed to be staying as CEO of Adore. Not only that, but New Jeans and Le Sserafim are both getting a lot of hate online. Hello, I am K-pop Welts and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be talking about Min Heejin's victory over Hybe and her second press conference. So without wasting any time, let's waltz right in. So I'm a little late to the whole Min Heejin victory thing because this technically happened end of May and the press conference happened beginning of June. But I'm going to give my 2 cents anyway. So Min Heejin had filed an injunction with the court to prevent Hybe from voting at the next shareholders meeting because she knew she would be fired if Hybe got to vote because they have 80%. But she managed to win the injunction and Hybe was not allowed to vote on whether they dismiss her or whether she stays, so she was able to stay in her position as CEO of Adore. Now, I'll be very honest, I did not think she could win because I think when the audit came out and she had her first press conference, I did make a video on it. It's very terribly edited, but okay. And I did say that I believed that Hybe would bury her. I thought she was done. I thought she was in the dirt. It was over. She was going to be leaving Hybe out the back door. But she managed to win somehow, and she's still the CEO of Adore, and she gets to keep the group New Jeans, and everything worked out as well as it could for her. Because let's be honest, this is Hybe we are talking about, and Min Heejin may have won this round, but the war is far from over. I can tell you that. Hybe and Bang PD are so fucking petty. There's no way they're letting her off the hook for this one. So in terms of what I understood from what I've read and the research I've done, I understand that the court ruled in favor of Min Heejin because Hybe did not provide sufficient evidence to prove that Min Heejin had breached trust to Adore or that she had done anything to damage Adore and deserve to be removed from her position. So because she's made so much money and New Jeans are successful and the girls are in good health, I guess, they decided that Hybe has nothing against her in terms of Adore. Now, this is where things start to get a little blurry because the court admits that there were things that Min Heejin did that did destroy Hybe or that did cause damage to Hybe. But that isn't enough to remove her from her position as CEO of Adore because she hasn't done anything to hurt Adore. If anything, Adore is a very profitable company right now. And New Jeans are also a very profitable group. Everything is well with Adore, even though her press conference, things she said, things that she has done did hurt Hybe in the end. It's not enough to remove her from her position. That's what I've understood from this whole thing, which I'm just like, fair play to her. Fair play to Min Heejin. She gets to walk away from this almost scotch-free. Now, the court did also say that if Hybe wants to remove her from her position, regardless of the injunction that was put on them, they would have to pay her 20 billion won to get her out of her position as compensation because she did sign a 5-year contract with them or a 4-year contract, I'm not really sure. But she did sign a contract with them that states that she would be the CEO for the period of the contract. And I think because of certain clauses, the non-compete clause that is in her contract, it would be difficult for her to start somewhere else or to join another company with the clause if it would still be valid regardless of whether Hybe fires her or not. So I don't really think they would be doing that because 20 billion won is a lot of money to be throwing away just to fire her, especially when they could just look into different angles on how to get her out of the company. Because if you know Hybe and if you know Bang PD, that is probably what is going to happen. They are going to plot heavily against this woman. But for now, she is very much enjoying her victory, which I think, considering everything that Hybe has, all the resources, she very much should be celebrating her victory because I did not think it was possible. I honestly did not think she could do it. Now, she also had a press conference to talk about her victory, to celebrate, I guess. And there's a lot that happened in the press conference, but I'm going to talk about the main points, things that I thought were worth mentioning. For starters, she did thank everybody that supported her throughout the whole feud with Hybe, the fans, New Jeans fans, and just everybody who's shown her support, the members as well, their parents. So her and the lawyers go on to talk about a bunch of things that honestly nobody was interested in, especially the reporters, because Heejin and one other reporter end up getting into a mini heated argument over the whole press conference, because the reporter basically tells her, we don't give a fuck about what you're saying. We came here in a rush because you called for a press conference in a rush, and we want to be the ones to ask the questions. We don't want to hear what you have to drone on about. Because honestly, I watched the press conference and I read the translations, and she was going on about things that were very nonsensical. Like, it was nonsense. Like, nobody wants to know about this stuff. We want to know about what happened, why things happened the way they happened, and what, like, people want to ask questions, and I'm with the reporter as well. Like, questions need to be asked. We want answers to certain things, because now that it's over, we can talk about these things, because it's not like we can't talk about it because we're in the process of being in court and everything anymore. So her and the reporter end up going at each other for a little bit, and then she allows everybody to ask questions finally. And one of the questions that were asked were about the Kakao Talk chats that were posted and that were all over the internet throughout the proceedings of the court and the feud with Hybe. And she actually does not deny those Kakao Talk chats. Like, she does not deny any of them. They just say that they were published without their permission, without their consent. And she says a bunch of other stuff, but she does not at any point deny any of them. Not the embezzlement texts, not the text where she calls New Jeans members fat and she calls the fans dumb. She does not deny any of it. I was like, there's no way that she just said that. There's no way she did not actually deny that those chats were real. She was also asked about the album pushing situation, because she did mention that it's a common practice for Hybe and Hybe subsidiaries or their labels to push albums and later make the money back. And they ask her about that, and she basically dances around the topic. She doesn't say what she said previously in the first press conference, because she's very vocal about it in the first press conference, where she very much said that Hybe asked her to push albums and that it was a common practice among Hybe labels and in Hybe. But this time around, she basically just tries to brush it off as like, maybe I said that, but I don't remember if I said that. And I'm like, there's no way she's trying to get out of this. It's so funny, because things she said in the heat of the moment, things she said in anger in the first press conference came back to bite her in the ass in the second press conference. But now that she's riding high on dopamine and she's victorious in the whole situation, she's at a point where she has to try to repatch her relationship with Hybe in any way that she can. And saying that Hybe is pushing albums and that the subsidiaries are also pushing albums wouldn't really do her any favors right now. Whereas before, it made her look good in the public, it made Adore look good in the public, and it possibly helped gain support from netizens. But now it wouldn't really do her any favors, because now you're not looking for public support anymore. Now you're trying to repatch things with Hybe after you basically just burned that bridge. Now, Heejin is also asked about whether she feels bad that certain groups such as L.IT and La Seraphim were dragged into the situation, and that they were criticized very heavily and they got a lot of hate from netizens and just general public as well. And she tries to balance out the scales by saying, well, New Jeans also got hate, I also got hate, we're all people, we're all human, we all have emotions. It's like, yes, but let's not forget the reason why L.IT was getting hate and the reason why La Seraphim was getting hate was because you came out and basically threw them under the bus. La Seraphim, with them debuting before New Jeans, when New Jeans was supposed to debut, how Hybe wouldn't let New Jeans be promoted properly because La Seraphim had just debuted. L.IT with the whole copying situation and the plagiarism, and now she's just like, I cannot stand this woman. I kid you not. She says, and I'm paraphrasing now, but she basically says that if people don't want to hurt other people, then they shouldn't talk about them. And I'm like, she did not just say that right now. She dragged everybody into this. She dragged P-Lift into this. L.IT, New Jeans, even some of the boy groups that had nothing to do with this whole situation, she dragged them straight in. And now she's going on about how, oh no, if you don't want to hurt people, you really shouldn't bring them up. I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman is insane. Minhyejin is probably the biggest hypocrite at this point in this K-pop era. She has to be the biggest hypocrite. Oh my gosh. I'm like, she did not just say that. She really did just drag all of these groups in and threw them way under the bus. And then now she wants to be like, oh yeah, we really shouldn't bring them up because we're gonna hurt people. If you don't want to hurt people, don't do it. Everyone was getting cooked online. They're still getting cooked right now. La Seraphim is getting cooked. New Jeans getting cooked. Everyone is getting it from netizens, from the public. Everyone's getting hate. And now she wants to be like, yeah, we really... Let's not hate each other. Let's live in a peaceful world. This woman drives me insane. I cannot. Like, I'm happy for her-ish that she won. Because I'm like, okay, she did kind of work hard for New Jeans. But I'm like, this whole situation started because of her. Her little feud with Hybe, her in need, I don't know, for more money. I don't know if it was for more power or to just be the top person. I don't know what it was. But this whole thing started all of this, and now everyone's getting cooked. And now she wants to act like she had nothing to do with it to begin with. Now, on the topic of New Jeans getting hate as well, they seem to be getting a lot more hate from something that is beside the whole feud thing. So during the feud, they were getting hate. They're still getting hate now. And there's two major reasons that I can think of that I believe they're getting hate for. Now, the first one is because Minhyejin in her press conference said that the achievements that New Jeans, herself, and Adore made in 2 years are comparable to those of top boy groups in 5 to 7 years. She said that their achievements were so big that they managed to achieve it in 2 years in comparison to top boy groups that take 5 to 7 years to achieve what they've basically achieved. Which I'm like, is it true? Yes, but she's such a narcissist. You are disregarding the reasons why you as a company, Adore as a company, and New Jeans as a group are able to make those kind of achievements. You've disregarded everyone that came before New Jeans. Everything that was accomplished before New Jeans was even a thought. Boy groups that took 5 to 7 years to achieve what New Jeans achieved in 2 years, it was a different time. We're talking about 3rd gen, because no 4th gen group has achieved that. Most 4th gen groups are barely in their 5th year. There's maybe a few of them that are successful in terms of being top boy groups. So we're basically talking about your EXOs, your BTSs, your Shinies, your NCT, because they've achieved plus minus what we're talking about in terms of New Jeans success. But we're probably talking BTS level, NCT level, EXO level. And for her to say that these are groups that debuted in the 3rd generation of K-pop, this was back when K-pop was not as popular in the West, in the American market and in the European market. And these 3rd gen groups, these top boy groups that took 5 to 7 years that she's comparing herself and New Jeans to, New Jeans is able to achieve that because they pushed for it. They worked their asses off. They were broke. We're talking about BTS. When they started out, they were broke. They had no money. Big Hit was bankrupt. And she's comparing a bankrupt BTS to New Jeans, who had a big ass budget to start off with. They had Hybe support. They had Hybe resources. Hybe was not even a thought when BTS first started out. That 5 to 7 years that took for them to make those achievements. I'm like, what is this? What is with her? Why would she say that? This woman is such a narcissist. I cannot even. You know, there was a point in this whole feud when I was kind of feeling bad for her, because in my first video that I made of the whole feud, I really just could not stand her, and I really did believe that she is a narcissist. And then in the second one, I was like, okay, maybe I feel bad because she's really getting cooked. And then now she comes out and she says stuff like this, and I'm like, oh, I really don't feel bad anymore. Lady, you deserve this. You honestly... She's a narcissist, okay? And I cannot stand her. Did she win against Hybe? She did. But now New Jeans are getting cooked because it seems like this is the person they supported, obviously. They support a woman who's okay with disregarding their seniors' achievements. It's like you don't care that there's people who came before you, there's groups that came before you who worked hard so that your group could be able to achieve what they've achieved. With Minhyejin and New Jeans, one thing I've noticed is Minhyejin has almost attached herself to New Jeans so much so that it almost feels like their fans can't separate the two. When you think New Jeans, you think Heejin. When you think Heejin, you think New Jeans. So what I've come to realize is that people who support Heejin tend to support her because they support New Jeans, because the two are kind of one and the same. And we've seen this happen before because it's happened with BTS as well, where when people thought of Hybe or when people thought of Bang PD, people don't really like Bang PD, I'll tell you. I don't like the man. When they think Bang PD, they think BTS. When they think BTS, they don't really think Bang PD. But there's a sort of attachment to Bang PD because of how he's placed himself almost in the shadow of BTS. He's put himself above or adjacent to BTS. So some people cannot separate the two entities, and it's like, no, if Bang PD does something shit, he does something shit. That has nothing to do with BTS. Now, the second reason New Jeans is getting cucked is because of what happened on Music Bank with Le Sserafim's Eunchae and Danielle. And honestly, this was a mistake. This seemed like an honest mistake, and I want to put myself in a position to believe that. But I will give my 2 cents on what I think other people saw. Now, people are hating on Danielle because they're calling her rude for speaking over Eunchae. And people are hating on Eunchae and calling her rude for speaking over Danielle. So what happened? So New Jeans won on Music Bank. They won first place. When you win first place, you get to give a speech before you do your encore. And one of the members gave their speech, and then fans were cheering, and it seemed like Danielle was waiting for the cheering to come down before she spoke, and she held the mic up to her mouth as if she was going to speak. Eunchae looked over to see if they were done, and then she started speaking, but Danielle started speaking at the same time. So they were talking over each other. And then Eunchae stopped talking, Danielle gave her speech, and then after that, everything goes back to normal. We start singing encore. Now, people are mad at Eunchae because they believe that she looked over and saw that Danielle was going to speak and spoke regardless. Now, people are hating on her for that. And then when Danielle finally did speak, it seemed like Eunchae was making faces. Like she was pissed, like she was upset. That's what it looked like. Now, this is how I'm understanding it from people's perspective. Now, from the other side, it looked like Danielle kind of knew that Eunchae was going to speak and spoke anyways, or that she heard her speak and spoke anyways and gave her speech. Not only that, but Danielle did thank Heejin. And it seems like the member that spoke first, I'm not sure which member it was, but that member had already thanked Heejin. And it doesn't help that Heejin threw Le Sserafim under the bus and they were already getting hate. So from Le Sserafim's fans' perspective, it seems a little overkill to have 2 members of the group thank the woman who facilitated the hate train that Le Sserafim got. Now, this is me understanding it from everyone else's perspectives. Personally, I believe that it was an honest mistake and that this technically has nothing to do with anything. Which is the mistake. I will say Eunchae making faces on the side did not really help her case. But all's well with the world. Let's just move on. Heejin is 1 up from Hybe. She won this battle. Hybe is gonna come back. Round 2, it's happening. I'm telling you guys. I'm making the prediction now. Round 2 is going to happen. Now, another thing that I thought was worth mentioning is that 2 of Heejin's board directors have been removed. They've been removed from their positions and they've been replaced with Hybe board members or with Hybe's replacement because Hybe cannot fire Heejin right now. They're not in a position to do that. They're not going to pay her 20 billion just to get rid of her. It's not happening. So they've removed people that she came in with from their positions and put in their own people, which means Heejin is in a very tight spot regardless of what happens, regardless of her victory. She is being put in a very tight spot because now not only does the final product of New Jeans have to go through Hybe, but now things that are being done in the company as well are almost going through Hybe because they're going through Hybe directors anyway. And I'm just thinking those 2 board members, I don't know if they were part of this whole coup, if they were part of the usurping conspiracy and all of that, but it feels like they're catching strays for something that the vice CEO and Heejin had been planning. Again, I'm not sure if they were involved though. Now, in terms of New Jeans and their future going forward, Heejin did say in her press conference that since she is back in the position, things will go as planned, as scheduled. So the Tokyo Dome tour will happen the world tour will happen as scheduled and that they will not be going on the long hiatus that Hybe had planned should things go wrong with Heejin, which they didn't. So that's not going to happen, which good for them, because as a group that young, they cannot afford a 1.5 year hiatus or 2 year hiatus or whatever was planned for them. They cannot afford that. So that's not going to happen. Heejin is in her position and she will be making sure that things happen as they should. Now, something I'm a little concerned about, something I noticed, now it might be a little early to have noticed this, but I thought it was worth mentioning, is that Jeans doesn't seem to be doing any TikTok challenges with any of the other Hybe groups. Hybe has kind of this like thing where it seems like they get penciled into each other's schedules. When groups have comebacks, they tend to do TikTok challenges with other groups in Hybe, and it seems to help a lot with pushing the numbers or with SNS numbers, whatever. But for this comeback for Bubblegum and How Sweet both, it doesn't seem like they've done TikTok challenges with any of the groups or any members of Hybe and the Hybe labels. Now, this could just be because the feud has been ongoing and How Sweet and Bubblegum did release during the feud, so everyone decided to just keep to themselves. It could be that. It could also be that they're just not comfortable with Jeans just yet. Another concern I have is with their promotion. Now, usually when groups promote, they go on variety shows, they go on all these other things. I have not seen Jeans do any of that in terms of the variety shows, because they usually go on a lot of them. They have not done a lot. I think they've done one, maybe two. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I really am not sure. But I am concerned that going forward, variety shows and other shows might be a little skeptical or a little on edge about working with Jeans so as to not upset Hybe, because upsetting Hybe means that you might get Jeans today, but do you miss out on the opportunity of working or being able to get other Hybe groups to come on your show because you've upset them, because you chose to have Jeans on your show? It sounds stupid, like it sounds like a stupid concern, but this is K-pop, and K-pop is super petty. This has happened before where variety shows and companies have kind of not wanted to work with certain groups so as to not upset certain other companies that they would rather work with. So as a variety show, you would rather have the possibility of having a BTS member or BTS as a whole coming on your show, or like an ENHYPEN, TXT, even LE SSERAFIM come on your show, rather than have just Jeans come on your show and miss out on the opportunity of working with other Hybe groups. So I'm not sure if this is maybe because Jeans and Heejin and Hybe were in the feud at the moment that they didn't get the chance to do that, or if this might be an ongoing thing. This is just a concern from me, just because I know Hybe and I know Bang PD. Very petty people. I really am looking forward to seeing how all of this develops. But those are just my opinions. You are free to share yours with me in the comment section below. Please subscribe, like this video if you want to see more just like it. And until our next Dance with K-pop, goodbye.